She thought the tattoos meant he loved her. 30. Her name was inked into his skin 30 times. Down his arms, across his chest, behind his ears, on his ribs, and even across his knuckles. Melanie. Over and over again like a chant, a permanent declaration that she was the only thing that mattered to him. Her friends said it was crazy. Her mom said it was a red flag. But Melanie thought, how could someone go through that much pain if they didn't mean it? What she didn't know, what no one could have guessed, is that those tattoos weren't about love. They were about ownership. And when he was done showing the world he owned her, he'd leave her for dead in the woods like she was trash. The first time Melanie met Jordan, she was 17. He was 23. He showed up outside the coffee shop she worked at, a motorcycle helmet in one hand and an ice Americano in the other. He smiled like he had no reason to be afraid of anything. She blushed the first time he called her baby. Her parents hated him instantly. Tattoos up his neck. Suspended license. No job, but Melanie didn't care. She was tired of being the good girl. She wanted danger. And Jordan made danger look romantic. Within a month, they were inseparable. He got her name tattooed on his wrist. "So I never forget who owns my heart," he said. Melanie laughed and kissed him. A week later, he added another, then another. He said it was like a ritual, a way to mark time. Every week together was another Melanie tattoo. At first, she found it flattering. Then it got weird. When he added her name across his lower back in huge black Gothic letters, she asked, "Aren't you overdoing it?" He didn't smile. "Do you not want me to?" She backtracked. "No, I do. I just don't want people to think you're obsessed." "But I am obsessed," he whispered. That should have been the moment she ran. But she didn't. She stayed. Even when he started checking her phone. Even when he made her block every guy in her contacts. Even when he threw a fit because she liked an old classmate's birthday photo. "You're mine, Melanie." Not his. Her friends tried to warn her. "You don't seem happy anymore." But Melanie just smiled and said she was tired. Tired from love, she thought. Love is supposed to be intense, right? One night, he asked her to come with him to the woods. "I've got something special planned." He blindfolded her in the car, said it was a surprise. She giggled like it was a game. When they arrived, he helped her out and told her to wait. The night was cold, the trees tall, the wind sounded like whispers. She waited 5 minutes, 10, 20. "Jordan?" No answer. She took the blindfold off. She was alone. Not just alone. She was in the middle of nowhere. No phone, no shoes, just dirt, cold, and the terrifying realization that he wasn't coming back. At first, she thought it was a test, like some twisted romantic game. But hours passed. Then night turned to dawn, and Melanie was still alone. She walked barefoot through brush, bleeding from thorns, crying into the silence. It took her 11 hours to find a road. A farmer called the police. When they found her, she was dehydrated, bruised, and in shock. She told them about Jordan, the blindfold, the tattoos, the threats, the control. The cops went to his apartment. Empty. All his things gone. Tattoos and all. It turns out Jordan wasn't even his real name. It was a stolen identity. His real name was Marcus Reeve. He had a criminal record spanning 2 states. Stalking, assault, fraud. But this was the first time he'd been connected to a disappearance. And even then, even with Melanie telling them he'd left her for dead, they couldn't arrest him without proof of intent. Maybe he just dumped her, one officer said. That's not a crime. But it was a psychological torture. It was a slow burn killing of her spirit. And it almost worked. Melanie stopped speaking to people. She didn't sleep. Every time she saw someone with tattoos, her breath caught in her throat. She didn't feel free. She felt haunted. The worst part? She still sometimes missed him. That's what abuse does. It wires your brain to crave the person who hurts you. Weeks passed, then months. No sign of him. Until one night, a girl in Ohio was reported missing. Same story. She met a guy with a charming smile and tattoos of a girl's name. A few weeks later, she vanished after he blindfolded her for a surprise. Her body was found in a shallow creek bed. A fresh tattoo of her name was still healing on his chest. Police finally put the pattern together. They tracked Marcus through tattoo parlors. He'd visited 31 studios, got 30 names inked onto his body, one for every girl he claimed to love, one for every victim. Melanie had been lucky. She was supposed to be one of them, a failed attempt. But her story became the thread that unraveled his game. The FBI issued a warrant. They finally caught him at a bus station in Nevada, about to board a ride to Mexico. When they arrested him, he didn't resist, just smiled and said, "Which one of them talked?" He confessed to 5 assaults, 3 attempted murders, and at least 2 deaths. But they suspect more. Many more. Melanie testified at his trial. She read a letter she'd written the night after she escaped the woods. "You didn't love me. You branded me. You collected names like trophies. But I'm not your trophy. I'm not your victim. I'm your undoing." The jury took less than 3 hours. He got life in prison without parole. In the courtroom, he sat expressionless. But as they dragged him out, Melanie noticed something. One of the tattoos, her name, had been scratched off, torn at with something sharp, replaced with scars. Even in prison, he tried to erase her, but she wasn't gone. She was in the room. She was free, and he'd never be. Today, Melanie speaks to young women about emotional abuse, about control, about how love doesn't isolate you, it empowers you. And she tells them this: if someone wants to wear your name on their body but can't treat your heart with care, run. Tattoos can fade, but trauma stays if you let it. Justice was served that day, but the real justice? It's in her healing. In every girl who sees the red flag sooner, because of her. In every story that gets told, because silence is where monsters thrive. But stories like this, they're how we take our power back. If this story hit you, don't just scroll away. What would you have done in Melanie's shoes? Have you ever ignored the red flags thinking it was love? Leave a comment below. I read them all. And if you want more dark, emotional, true crime stories that make you think, hit that subscribe button. Let's keep telling the stories that need to be heard.